Welcome back to Linked by Golf, where we uncover the stories behind the people who are linked by the game. I'm your host, Ross McGuire, and in this bite-sized episode, Alan Tait takes us back to one of the most remarkable moments of his career, shooting a course record 64 at Carnoustie. And, just a year later, playing alongside Masters champion Ben Crenshaw and a young Tiger Woods at the very same venue. Let's go over to Alan.
Two amazing days in my life. Both days, both happened at Carnoustie, and the first one was 1994 when I was still working with Ken at Codder. I was still doing my training, and I was playing in the Daily Express National 4-Day Pro-Am, which was a big event. I think Paul Laurie actually won it the year before, and it was a fantastic event. It was a 4-round Pro-Am using 3 different courses. So it was Panmure, it was the Burnside at Carnoustie, and then it was a championship course at Carnoustie. And it was a wee bit like the Dunhill that the teams and the players and the pros would play. And then if you made the cut, there was a 3-round cut. And if you made the cut, the final round was back in the championship course. So if you played all 4 rounds, it was 2 in the big course, 1 at Burnside and 1 at Panmure. And I played at Panmure the first day, played great. I think I shot 4 under. And then I went to the Burnsides the second day at Carnoustie, and I shot 62, which was 86 under. I think that's right. So anyway, I had about a 3 or 4 shot lead. But now I'm going to the championship course, and all my fellow pros are going to Burnside and Panmure. So there's a feeling that I'm going to come back to the field a bit, and I've got a 4 or 5 shot lead, whatever it is. And I do remember thinking myself, geez, if I can get round this big course and maybe 74, 75 today, I'll still be in contention going into the last round tomorrow.
I'm not going to
lose ground. And I went out that day and had absolutely the round of my life, couldn't do a thing wrong, and ended up shooting 8 under par 64 around the championship course, which was a course record that stood for 23 years. And people say to me this day, and I don't ever want this ever to come across in a big-headed way, but people always say to me, you must have went crazy that day. You must have holed everything. You must have chipped in 3 times. You must have holed out a bunker, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't, Ross. I drove the ball great, and I just hit so many good iron shots, and I got them in kind of 10, 12 feet, and I took my chances. I didn't do anything. Stupid. I mean, the longest putt I holed that day genuinely was about 12 feet, and so it was just a great round of golf and the way the game should be played. And if I could put that in a jam jar and bottle it and take that feeling with me every time, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you, big man, that's for sure. I'd be away living in one of my hussies in Barbados or Australia or somewhere else.
Funny what you say though, Alan. For me, when I've played Carnoustie, I've played it a couple of times, possibly 3.
Yeah.
And the thing I always say to people is it's the toughest, fairest golf course in the world.
Yeah.
So for me to hear that folk sort of think you had a lucky day, I'm like, no, you don't get lucky bounces. You don't get bad bounces either.
No,
you
absolutely
get exactly what you put in. You hit a good shot, you get rewarded. You hit a bad one, you don't. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely. So it's ended up shooting 6.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I think that was me 4, 6. So I think I was like 14 or 15 under after the 3 rounds. Well, and I came off, and I always remember old Jock McVicker, rest his soul. Jock was the chief writer for the Daily Express, who were sponsoring the tournament. And Jock came running over at my 18th green. He's going, Alan, this is unbelievable. He said, you're the first man ever to shoot 64 round Carnoustie, and all the greats of the game, Ben Hogan, Gene Sarrazin, Jack Nicklaus, Tom Watson, they've all been here, and you're the first guy to ever shot 64. And the enormity of it hadn't hit me, and then all of a sudden when he started, I saw how Jock was like emotional, and I was like, oh my goodness, and he's like, one of our own have done it, it's unbelievable. So I ended up, I get ushered into a wee press conference, and Martin Dempster and all the guys were there, and all the journalists, and they were all asking me questions. And at the end of that, I hadn't even thought about where I'm in the tournament, and I said, I haven't even looked at the leaderboard. I said, I take it I'm leading. And they all kind of started laughing, and they said, well, you've got 1 round to play tomorrow on the championship course, and you've got a 15-shot lead over Dean Robertson. So 15. So they said, do you think you can hold on? And it was funny because Carnoustie being Carnoustie, I remember that night I was staying in a caravan in Arbroath. I was staying with a big guy, Hamish Kemp, Big Hamish used to be an assistant at Codder as well. And Hamish and I stayed in this caravan in Arbroath all that week. And we went back that night and we're sitting there and I said, Hamish, I've just had a thought. And I said, what? And I said, well, see Carnoustie, see if the wind blows tomorrow. I said, I could shoot 85. It could happen. And Dean could shoot 70 because he's that good. And Hamish looked at me and goes, big man, go to your bed. He says, it's not going to happen. So the next day it actually was quite windy and the greenkeeper wasn't happy that I'd shot that score, so the pins were all tucked away. Oh, the pins were all tucked away.
Did you have a course record before you? They thought you were not going to do that again, son?
They were hanging on down slopes, the back of bunkers and everything. It was brilliant. And I shot 76 the last round, and Dean, I think, was 73, which was a great score, to be fair. So ended up, I managed to go home by 12, so I was quite pleased to. And that was amazing, yeah, just a special day. And then in the back of that, almost 12 months later, I was playing in the Bell Scottish Open at Carnoustie, which the Scottish Open, as we all know it now, went to Loch Lomond, sponsored by Barclays, and then up to Castle Stewart and Royal Aberdeen, became the Aberdeen Asset Management, which is now the Renaissance. An amazing event, and that's probably the biggest event I've ever played in, probably the biggest event I'll ever play in. So it was through my Order of Merit in Scotland at that time. If you were in the top three, you get in like the PGA at Wentworth, and you get in the Scottish Open, and you get in 2 or 3 events. So I'm getting in the Scottish Open, and literally 12 months after I'd done the course record, and I was really looking forward to going back to the scene of the crime, and this is absolutely true. And I had booked a tee time the next day, and the next thing I'm standing on the tee, and next thing the crowds start milling about, and because there'd been nobody about all morning, and it's only practice day Tuesday, and then I'm thinking, where are all these people coming from? Like, surely they're not here to just watch me. I'm like, come on, I know a good round last year, but I'm just an assistant pro for Glasgow. And then the next thing out the crowd walks Ben Crenshaw, at that time the Masters champion, having just won his second Masters 3 months before, and one of all-time heroes. And walking behind him was Tiger Woods, and I'm standing there, and the next thing they came over, do you mind if we join you? I'm going, sorry. And as it turned out, I found out from Ben Crenshaw's caddy, who caddied for Ben every time he played in Scotland, that how it came about was that the Ben and Tiger went into the players' lounge the night before. They had just arrived at Cooper. They'd come in the private jet, and the three of them were standing, Crenshaw, Tiger and Crenshaw's caddy. And I had put my name up next to a wee guy, John Greaves, who was the assistant at Glasgow Golf Club at the time. And the caddy, Crenshaw's caddy, turned out to the two of them and said, see that guy playing at 11:31, he's just an assistant pro from Glasgow, and last year he shot 64 here, the first man ever to shoot 64 around the championship course at Carnoustie. And Crenshaw turned around to Tiger and said, I think we should play with this guy. Tiger went, absolutely. And I'm like, I wish somebody told me, they were going to be joining us. I might have so, and that was it. The next thing wore away. I absolutely chunked it off the first with a 2-iron. I was that nervous.
I think you were reaching for driver in the first.
I know, I should have. And that was it. We went out that day, played at 18 holes in the company of those two, which was, looking back again, incredible when you think about it. And to be fair, Ross, I was more overawed playing with Crenshaw because he was the Masters champion.
Yeah. And that Tiger wasn't professional, right? He was still.
Well, he just won the US Amateur, and we knew he was good, and he arrived with all his groupies and his potty dry. Arrived with his trainer and his nutritionist and the chefs, and he had a huge team, even them travelling with him. And I was asked at the time after I played with him, how good was he? And I've still got the newspaper article somewhere, and I did quote at the time, and I said he was pretty sensational. I said he was a wee bit wild at times off the tee. I said, but I'm pretty sure that this kid will win probably at least 2 or 3 majors. So I said 2 or 3. So some folk might say that was a bad guess. I think it was a pretty good guess to say a 19-20-year-old. Now, never in my wildest dreams. But never in my wildest dreams. Yeah, but never in my wildest dreams if he'd said to me that day, he'll go on to become the greatest player for 10 years, a 10-year span, and nobody will touch him. And he'll probably beat Jack Nicklaus's record, and I would have said, no, wait a minute, he's good, but he's not that good. But that was his first ever round of golf in Scotland, and I played with him. That was the first ever round of golf he had, which was great. But I was amazed, just 2-3 years later, I think 20 months later, he shoots 40 in the front nine at the Masters, and then wins it by 12, and the rest was history. That was it.
You obviously take inspiration from you, Alan. Come on.
It must be something like that. Before and when.
It's that guy won by 12, I can do that.
Or he saw my duff at the first and thought, I never want to be like that guy.
If you enjoyed this story from Alan Tait, please take a moment to share it with a friend and leave a review. It really helps more people discover the show. I'm Ross McGuire, thanks for listening.
Lomond Golf Tours have helped thousands of guests build bespoke golf trips to create a magical experience. Travel in style with our executive chauffeur travel, whether it's golf on a major championship venue or one of our hidden gems, 5-star accommodation or a boutique bed and breakfast, or is it whiskey tasting on a private boat? Lomond Golf Tours are here to help build the tour of a lifetime. Whether you're celebrating a special occasion or ticking it off your bucket list, embark on a trip that you'll remember forever. To learn more about our offerings for 2025 and beyond, visit www.lomondgolftours.com.